Hey everyone, and welcome to another Apokolips Production. I'm your host, Bacon Lord, and today we're going to be talking about Superman. We've also got with us today.
I'm Yorangoth.
And I'm Erebus. We were going to talk about Yellow Lantern Sinestro, but instead, we have a special guest today. Who's with us?
Hi, it's me, BŇomstam.
Woo!
Whoa! Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
We'll have to work on our wooing, apparently.
Thank you for having me.
You can just, when you're editing, just, smush it all together so it sounds like we wooed in unison.
Or I can leave it like that since we had the comments.
That was intentional.
Yep. Well, we're so glad you're here, Boomy. And we're excited to have an expert on Superman here today because it really helps when you know what you're talking about on these things, apparently. So I've been told.
We wouldn't know.
You guys do a great job.
Thanks, man. Well, I'm going to dive in, just start with the powers like we usually do, and then just, you know the drill. You know the drill. So his first ability for Superman, I would specify, but there's only one Superman in this game for some reason, is Super Strength. It deals damage to an enemy, and it strikes again if Superman has no debuffs. At Legendary, it has a 75% chance to stun for one turn. Yes. Erebus or Boomy?
I'm going to defer to our guest.
Well, I don't know if we're going to talk about these previous kits at all, but or the comparison between those two.
You're more than welcome to. I mean, we weren't planning on it because I don't have it off the top of my head. So
no, I guess we'll get into it when once we go through all the abilities. This first one, it's actually pretty great. His stun percentage has been tripled, basically, compared to his previous kit. He punches really hard now because of his rework, because of his gear set change. He went from a special tank to a striker, I think. So that really upped his damage. And, 75 chance to stun. It's almost like he pretty much always stuns. So, great ability. And, that.
I would say, it's a pretty cut and dry ability. It's deal damage and stun. That's about it. Chance to hit twice, and hits twice if he's got no debuffs, which he usually doesn't.
Right. Well, and that's not a chance that increases through rings. That is just flat out from the very start. Strike again if Superman has no debuffs.
Because all his ring upgrades are just damage upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true.
So it's a good ability, especially for early game players. Once you get him through you get him for login rewards, and you get him for clearing chapters on normal and heroic.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
By the time that you have finished the full story and you've gotten the login daily rewards, you should have him at full R ranks.
At least R, yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Not sure if you get him legendary from the missions.
Well, you don't unlock. He doesn't unlock till 90 frags actually, so he kind of is just from the get go, pretty good. Unless it changed.
No, it hasn't. So 90 frags would be 10, 15, 25.
You unlock him at R4, you bump him up to R5, and then...
Yeah.
Well, obviously it's been a while for me, but yeah. I think you have him at least R5, yeah.
You do indeed.
There you go. All right, I'm going to hop on to the next one just to get... Because, it's easier to talk about the kit as a whole than it is individual abilities.
Exactly.
Heat Vision's his second damage dealing ability. It deals heavy damage and 10% true damage to an enemy, and it can't miss. It also applies buff immunity and heal immunity when legendary. So, any thoughts on that one, guys?
I don't think that one changed from his last rework. It did
actually. It did.
Oh,
It used to be special damage, and it was light special damage.
Oh, okay. Well, There you go. I know it from his very first kit. It used to give 10 bleeds.
Jeez.
That was his very first heat vision ability, but that changed after his first rework. So
I forgot about that actually.
I'm sad I missed that.
It was a weird ability for Superman,
Yeah.
actually.
It was.
Fair.
Yeah, I like this one better. But I think it was. I think it was Can't Miss in his previous kits. I think.
Yes, but I think it was part of the legendary,
Oh,
if I remember correctly. I'm trying to think back to it because it's been over a year. It's almost been a year since he's got the rework, so I'm trying to remember what it was.
Yeah, it could be. Now his legendary is the buff immunity and heal immunity, which I also think he already had from his last kit.
Yes, that I remember the heal immunity for sure. I think the buff immunity was there.
I think so too.
Okay.
Yeah. I will say, having that can't miss early on in the game, it real helpful.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of tunes with can't miss that you get for free.
Except for Hal Jordan, and
Yeah, but his is gated
couple
behind
of those.
legendary.
That's true. Okay, that's true. Off the bat, you don't get anything like that.
Yeah.
All right.
And it prevents the enemy from gaining any more buffs, so also gaining any more evasions, which would help them, evade and you miss.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, heavy damage with a heal immunity, that's a great combo.
It is.
And the 10% true isn't bad either.
Yeah.
Yep. And the heal immunity for any revive tunes, like Swamp Thing or Wetland Sinestro, whatever.
Yeah. This is oddly a catch-all ability, quite frankly.
So sometimes heal immunity applies before the damage, sometimes after. This one is after, I think.
It because it's the legendary ability.
Because it's the legendary ability. So it actually isn't very helpful with revive tunes.
It's the same issue we have with Red Hood as a leader when he uses his AoE if it kills.
Yeah.
I've never had a revive tune come back after a heat vision, but
I had it. I used him the other day actually, and he did. It was Grundy. I think I took out Grundy with him for some reason.
Grundy is so bugged though himself.
I've never had a revive character come back after a heat vision. Never.
Huh.
But I could be mistaken.
Maybe it's just my luck.
So I managed to pull up on the Wayback Machine online, the Internet Archive, the DCL toolkit for Superman pre-rework.
Oh.
So if we have any questions about his previous rework, I will say the can't miss was still...
Was it part of the basic?
Was still part of the basic.
Okay.
So the only thing that changed is the special damage into heavy damage.
Right.
Okay.
And was the old kit also at 10% true damage, or was that like 5% true damage?
It was 10%. Apparently that only changes truly the damage
Okay.
type.
Here, I'm gonna throw that in the chat for you all.
I'm looking at it. It's on the master server, actually. I'm finding.
Oh, okay.
Huh. I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Oh well. Say Livy. I'm gonna scoot on down to Kryptonian
go for it.
Physiology?
Yep.
I really should have learned how to say this word before we did this. Kryptonian Physiology is his third ability. It is not a damage dealing ability, but it's a active ability nonetheless. Superman gains 3 taunts, 3 death immunities, and 3 strength ups. At legendary, he also has a 50% chance to use super strength on a random enemy. And just for clarification, because it is specified and it's a little weird, the taunt is 1 turn, the death immunity is 2 turns, and the strength ups are 3 turns. That is quite the breakdown of that one.
It is.
You know what's also funny is because it says 50% chance to use super strength on a random enemy. This ability can actually bypass a taunt.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And super strength, because it strikes twice, you actually end up hitting 2 random enemies.
Exactly. And it can be helpful, but it can also be detrimental, if you will, because if Superman kills a rat and there's an enemy Spectre,
Yeah.
you're dead.
Yeah. And we get the Spectre picture, I think. You just have to say if there's a Spectre, like, oh yeah, Spectre.
Unless Spectre is the first one he punches and he stuns him, and then, but Superman can go a little wild.
Sometimes, yes.
We'll talk a little bit more about the random things that he does.
Yeah.
Later. I do want to mention from his previous kit, there's the only change is the length of time that the death immunity and strength ups last. So previously, the death immunities were 1 turn and the strength ups were 2 turns.
Okay, cool.
It's the only change on that ability, which kind of scared me of how good he could have been if he had a couple tweaks in the rest of his kit.
Like the ones that he got.
Exactly the ones they gave him. Jorngoth, you want to take us away for the next one?
Yeah, I can do that. So the next ability we're going to be talking about is Impervious. And Superman has an 85% chance to purge all the debuffs from himself at the beginning of each of his turns. This is a passive, and the legendary ability on this gives you a 10% chance of a true overheal. So this ability is pretty good because it makes it to where the super strength procs more often because it takes his buffs away, or it has an 85% chance to.
Yeah.
Not the buffs, the debuffs. He purges debuffs from himself.
Oh, debuffs. I'm sorry. Did I say buffs?
Yeah.
Just like a couple of the times, not all of them.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
No worries. The number of times that I can't get the name of this podcast right, so you're good. Yeah. So this is one of the biggest changes, and this is one that I really wanted to talk about because previously it was he has an 85% chance to purge 1 debuff at the start of each turn.
Exactly.
And that was every character's turn. Yours and your opponent's.
Yep. And you also got an overheal with that, with the 5%
overheal.
Exactly.
But that was every turn, whereas now it's just
his turn.
Yes.
Right. Boomy, which do you prefer?
His previous one.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though it was only 1 debuff a turn.
Yeah.
I guess
but it was always the one that you wanted to keep on him the most.
It was always the stun. That was the kicker.
The stun.
Well, the reason why I say it's also, but we'll get to that, is, with his old kit, he was tankier, and he's lacking that. The thing about his old kit is you were chopping away at Superman, and, somebody got a turn, and wham, he's overhealed again. And that made him annoying. And he just isn't that annoying anymore because he has a lot of counters aside from Spectre. There are plenty of tunes that have a buff immunity or can stun him and keep stunning him. There are purgers like Wonder Woman, Prince of Themyscira, to name one.
Wonder Girl.
Yeah. TDK has been, it seems like he has been reworked just to counter Superman, but he already had plenty of counters, including Spectre. So, I would have liked if they kept his old passive where he at least heals himself a lot faster. He wouldn't be as tanky as his old self, but he would at least heal himself up a lot faster than he does now, because now it's basically he taunts and he gets damage immunity, but his health bar doesn't really increase that much, or you really need a separate healer like a Barda or a Zatanna or a Star Sapphire or whatever. You need somebody to help him out. And in his previous kit, he could really be much more self-reliant.
Yeah,
I miss that.
And I the biggest thing that I think because with his ability, it is his biggest change in terms of his old kit, because it's no longer purging one. I mean, it's honestly a minute change compared to some kits, but the fact that it's all of the debuffs on him at the beginning of his turn I think is the frequency of the purging was to counteract the amount of purging, but then that overheal kind of got lost in the jumble there, because what I remember being annoying about him before, because he wasn't bad before, but he just wasn't great.
Well, he wasn't great damage wise, but he was great tank wise.
He was a great tank.
Yeah, and just yeah.
Oh. Well, what I was gonna say was that because he would overheal heal himself every turn, he would then trigger his team leader ability when he got hit, whereas he lost that with the rework.
Exactly.
I think.
And even if you didn't have Spectre, I don't think it would have been overkill or overpowered if he did keep his old passive, because he's a lot more squishy. And,
yes.
And right now it's just to kill Superman, you just need to whittle away at his health right now, wait for the damage or the death immunity to wear off, slap him one more time, and he's gone.
Exactly.
I mean, pretty much anybody can take him out right now if he's the only one left that you're facing. You don't even really need a purger or a stunner to do it. It would take a little bit longer, but you could still get him. You could still get rid of him pretty easily.
I don't know. I think without a stunner, if you're facing just him, he's still going a little crazy with any time that you're actually able to deal damage to him, he's going to be hitting you right back and stunning your whole team.
If you can keep him at like 1 HP, he doesn't do his taunt move when you attack him, because it doesn't register as damage.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could just keep him at 1 HP, then he wouldn't get his damage immunity. And even if he did, wait for the damage immunity wear off, then damage him again, then wait for the death immunity wear off, and bye Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it becomes patience at that point.
Yeah.
He still scares and frustrates me when I see him on the other side. Like, if I don't bring a Spectre, my match always ends up going so much longer than I want it to.
Connor's actually turned into my favorite counter for him, surprisingly.
Who is?
Connor. I mean, Spectre is a piece of cake, but I mean, Connor's got the stun and the buff purge and buff immunity, which Spectre does lack. That I appreciate.
But if Connor gets hit by Soups, he's going bye-bye.
That's fair. It's hit or miss.
It's true. Literally.
Well, mine doesn't, but
I definitely, anytime there's a green legendary or a green PvP event and I see Superman as the lead on those boards, I just sit there like, oh god, this is gonna take forever.
It's true.
Well, there are green purgers and stunners that you can use.
Yeah,
It might take a little longer.
Right.
Yeah,
it's not going to be Spectre fast.
No, that's true.
Yeah, I will say I like this change when I see him on defense, because it means that I can stun him and then take out the rest of his team without him getting the damage immunity and the taunt and the death immunity all the time, every single time I hit all of his friends. But definitely it did make him a lot less tanky. But you can't have him be both the strongest and the tankiest.
Why not?
It works in the comics. It doesn't make a good video game.
I don't know. I mean, Supergirl is pretty tanky.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the crit damage percentage thing, and she still hits like a truck. So I don't see why. Especially now, exactly. So I don't see why it wouldn't work for Superman. I mean, even if he is tanky, and even without Spectre, you can still take him down.
Yeah. I mean, I'm honestly more scared of Supergirl than I am of Superman at this point.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
What about Power Girl?
Don't get me started.
Well, I mean, of course, mine is RB5, but with a under an Aquaman, she can be pretty good. She hits fairly hard, and she can take up hits again.
If you have her under Aquaman and you bring another Taunter, and you don't ever actually let her take a turn, she's great.
Good Lord.
She is like Superman. She's a taunter, but she's kind of squishy. But unlike Superman, she has no other way to save herself other than having a couple of strengths up and hoping for a chance to get death immunity.
Right. Mm-hmm. Taunters who can't sustain. That's earlier we were talking about Granny Goodness, and it's the same. Her and Chemo. It's just like, man, you want to take the hits and you get hit and you do nothing with it.
Well, it's the reason why Mongol lost his taunt. They moved the taunt because he was like a paperweight.
He's too squishy to be a taunter. Yeah,
and well, I mean, it doesn't really apply to Superman because of the damage immunity, but still, it does mean that he is way less effective off lead.
Yep.
Speaking of lead, Jorungoth, do you want to bring us home?
I was like, we've mentioned the damage immunity like 6 times. We should probably explain where it's coming from.
That's a good idea.
So, on the topic of damage immunity, the final ability for Superman is I'll take the hits, and it's 75% chance to use Kryptonian physiology and gain damage immunity for 2 turns when an ally receives damage. The legendary version of this allows you to use Kryptonian physiology at the start of battle.
And this is his team leader ability, just to be very clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's also worth noting, on that legendary, when he uses Kryptonian physiology at the beginning of battle, he does not get the damage immunity that his leader ability gives him.
But he does have the turn 0 chance to punch twice, I think, even ignoring a taunt. So even if you have a taunter at the start of battle, he can just do the ability and then knock somebody's teeth out.
Except it's currently still bugged, right? So it's not actually happening on turn 0. It's happening the end of turn 1.
Is that what that is? I thought he was just attacking by Black Flash for no reason.
No, it happens at the end of turn 1, so you don't actually want to bring a Black Flash against him because you'll remove turn meter and he'll still do his punches.
I have never interpreted that happening as him as a delay on his 50% chance. I thought it was because there was a bug with Black Flash, his second ability triggering it as an attack. That's what I thought was happening.
That's what a lot of people thought. But no, the bug is on Superman, because if you bring a Spectre and have Spectre stun him on the very first turn. If your Spectre has to be the fastest thing, but if you stun him, then he doesn't go for the super punches.
You learn something new every day. I'm still gonna bring Black Flash because I don't care, but
Fair.
Interesting.
No, that or Impulse, but that's still only a 75% chance to stun. If you need to stun Soups right out the gate, so he doesn't start off with his double strike, 75% chance to stun, which will stun half your team.
Don't stun the important half and we're good.
Well, like I said, he can ignore a taunt, so nice to have a Barda there, but he may just ignore her and knock.
Well, that's when Terra comes in handy there. Just
True. At least
throw
you
that
won't.
defense immunity.
Yeah, you won't get stunned then.
Yeah.
Or
Hell's
Martian Manhunter plus Spectre. You're good.
It's true.
It's
Well,
truly all it takes.
it's so much work.
It's 2 tunes.
So much work.
and I don't lose anyone.
And I tried
Guaranteed.
to use Spectre, but other than that, sure.
But yeah, no, this ability is fantastic. It's much better than what it used to be, which was a 100% chance to use Kryptonian Physiology and gain damage immunity when an ally is dealt a critical hit.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the time, an ally is dealt a critical hit, they're gone.
Yes, this one actually improved quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think this is what pushed him over the edge into like a tune that we should actually kind of be afraid of.
Yeah.
To an extent, I'm not terrified anymore.
The legendary changing from just start battle with damage immunity to starting with Kryptonian Physiology.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. But I think, I like his kit as we just read it. Aside from the fourth, I think I like the old passive better. As for the gear set, well, I like that Superman punches hard now.
Yeah.
But I still think that I preferred his old tankier gear set.
Well, I agree with you on that one because his kit does read as a taunter, not as a damage dealer. So switching him to a physical striker, while it might have been smart for his damage moves, it doesn't really support 3/5 of his, really 4/5 of his entire kit, because how it's reading is a taunter with stun, and what the gear is saying is it's a striker with taunt.
Well, yeah, that's pretty from a game perspective. For me, it's also the character.
Mm-hmm.
Superman. I mean, in the comic books, he had to be taught to fight by Batman, by Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't like to fight.
He'd rather take the hits, not like
exactly. He's a protector. He's a shield. Like you said, he'd rather take the hits. He'd rather get punched right into the face than, break somebody's arm like Batman likes to do, or Wonder Woman, who enjoys the thrill of battle. He isn't that kind of a character.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the previous kit would, it also reflects his character from the comic books and from the other media. I think it reflects his personality, his character, way better than what it does now. And yes, Superman has been known to break Darkseid's jaw when he's angry, but that's not his.
That's an exception to the rule, not the rule.
Exactly.
Like this kit reads more like Injustice Superman, as opposed to canon. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a great line in the Justice League animated series where I think he's fighting against Darkseid, and he even says, "I always have to hold back. It's like I'm living in a world made of paper bags. I'm so glad that finally I don't have to." And then he just wails on Darkseid.
Yeah, that there are a few characters where he can just cut loose, like Doomsday, like Darkseid, like Mongol, Brainiac to an extent.
Zod.
Zod, yes, other Kryptonians.
Yeah, other people who can take that level of hit.
But every other bad guy, he just he has to use Kid Glove, if you will.
Exactly. With Lex, he can't go pummeling Lex. He has to think about what he's doing.
Exactly.
Well, and to kind of bounce off what you said about like he's a protector, he's a defender. Like for me growing up, one of the iconic, because I grew up with the Justice League Unlimited and Justice League TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
One of the iconic images that kind of sticks with me when I think of Superman is when there's multiple times he does it when like his teammates or when civilians, I think it's specifically civilians more often than his teammates, are getting shot at by whoever the antagonist is of that episode specifically. The first thing he does isn't like go up and punch the enemy in the face. It's he goes and he shields the person that's being attacked and takes the bullets and takes the shots first.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason that his crest is called a shield.
Yeah. True. Yeah. So, in a way, as the characters in the game reflect their comic book or movie or TV show counterparts, I mean, yes, there are aspects of him in his kit right now that that reflects Superman, but like I said, in his previous kit, I think it served him better than his current kit. Aside from the fact that I like the fact that Superman can punch a hole in the wall now, right. But I didn't need him. I didn't need him to do that. I had other tunes that could pack a punch, and I just needed him to be the shield, be the annoying roadblock, and be the center of attention for my other teammates.
So that the rest of your teammates could attack. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So
do you think those first two moves kind of fit better for like a Superboy Prime than for a Superman?
Well,
I mean, double punches. That's kind of really what Superboy Prime is known for, there, isn't it?
Yeah,
punching a hole in the world.
I mean, if in his previous kit, if they lost the double punch, but still kept his his tanky gear set, and maybe upped his percentages, maybe not to 75%, maybe like 50%. I mean, I would have been stoked. And if they remove the critical hit part of his leader ability, and just like right now, if any teammate gets hits, he does the taunt thingy, and just kept his ability to heal himself to like an annoying extent. I mean, that would be my ideal Superman kit, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and it would make sense to have him as a physical tank, and then with low intelligence, because you know what? He's supposed to be weak to magic, weak to mystical things. Yeah. So it fits.
And they could still give us a striker Superman in the form of either John Kent or a different version of Superman, like like we talked about before, like Kingdom Come Superman, who was angrier at first, when he lost his wife, or like you said, Justice Superman, Justice Lords, whatever. Right. There are other versions. Injustice Superman, maybe Henry Cavill Superman, that they could bring along the way. There are plenty of options where they could give us a striker Superman if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm. They can only add Henry Cavill Superman in if they give him one move somewhere that's just called Martha.
Yeah.
You know, that felt very full circle, referencing all the other Supermen that we were talking about earlier. It's a very nice full circle moment.
They could also add a Smallville Superman.
Yeah.
Although, as of the, I think the comics and or the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths, Tom Welling's Superman from the Smallville series gave up his powers, so he is a depowered Superman.
Yeah.
But Brandon Routh Superman, that I'm on board for.
Oh, good lord.
From Superman Returns.
Yeah, and from he actually reprised the role in the CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths, where he was wearing the Kingdom Come outfit.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
He was the best part of that crossover.
he was. Yeah,
And then he exploded.
Yeah.
That did not end well for him.
No, it did not. It's a
Or
rough crisis.
they could do the 5 o'clock Shadow Superman from Superman and Lois TV show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That'd be
Tyler
good.
Hoechlin. Yeah. What about Gods and Monsters Superman?
Are we just gonna list different versions of Superman now? Is that what we're
That was-
doing?
Listen, that was odd. Red Sun Superman, absolutely stunning. One of the best interpretations of Superman ever.
Yeah, maybe let's not talk about the Red Sun Superman skin since it's been the biggest letdown of the game somehow.
Well, that they
To
could
this day.
they could still do the DC 1 million Superman.
Oh,
Because-
yeah.
Oh yeah.
The gold skin is actually the DC DCL anniversary skin, so it's not a official comic skin. You know, they could still give us the gold Superman from DC 1 million, and they could
Yeah.
make him totally badass because he is nigh omnipotent.
Yes, that's easy to put in the game. Oh wait,
Yeah.
Spectre.
Oh, good lord.
A Green Spectre.
Oh no, please, no more.
No, nigh omnipotent. Yeah, no. Sorry, I thought you said nigh omniscient. I was going to be like, that's just permanent damage immunity.
Yeah, unpurgeable, permanent.
No. Unpurgeable, permanent, the whole 9 yards.
and that's when we get DC actually implementing the turn out rule for fights that go on for more than 100 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We're getting close to what probably should be the end here. Jorngoth, you got anything you want to say about Superman?
No, I mean, I think you guys covered a lot of the things I had to say. Like, you know, he's pretty cool. I like him more now. I know that that's not a universal opinion, but me personally, I like him more now.
Erebus, you got anything else on him?
I'm with Jorngoth. I like him better now. I like him better both on my team and fighting against him because I can actually, beat him now, and it doesn't take 5 years.
That's a good call there. Yeah. Okay. Boomy, you got anything else you want to say about the man, the myth, the legend?
Well, I just wanted to say that there are some exciting things coming in comic book for Superman. You know, it seems like DC has shifted its attention towards Superman a little bit more, also in the comic books. We're going to get a couple of more ongoing books for him or for his family. So I think that's a great thing as a Superman fan. Also, I just want to say, if you want to read a great book about Superman, you should read Superman Up in the Sky. It's one of my all-time favorites. And, I just hope you guys enjoy playing with Superman in the game as much as I do and the other members of the Super family.
Yeah, in addition to Up in the Sky, any other must-read books for wannabe Superman fans? Somebody who's never read Superman before, what is the first book that you're directing them to?
Well, it sort of depends where you want to jump on, I think. I mean, the great jumping on point is the Rebirth series. I think Dan Jurgens wrote the Superman book or the Action Comics one. I'm not sure, but they go back to back. You know, they first was Action Comics, then the Rebirth version, and then the Superman version. It shows him as a family man, which I really liked. So it was pretty much just after the, when John was a small boy. That's a very good run. The other one would probably be All-Star Superman from Grant Morrison, which is also a very, very great book. Yeah, I think those are my top 3 picks for the Superman books.
Great. I've just added them to my reading list.
Oh, so that was for personal purposes, not for listener purposes.
A thing can be 2 things.
Sure. Okay. Well,
True.
on that note, I'm gonna say let's wrap it up because I feel like we said everything. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds
All right.
good.
Boomy says yes, so that's enough confirmation for me. Well, thank you again, Boomy, for joining us this evening. It was so great to have you on here. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, if you ever want to talk about the other members of the Super Family, I have all of them RB5, so
Okay. Well,
that would
they're scheduled
And-
for the future.
And
Great.
if ever they do add adult Jonathan or any blue Kryptonian, we're going to have you right back on.
Yeah. Thank you. I loved having you. I love being on the show, so talking about Superman always makes me happy, so
Well, that's great.
thanks.
Cannot wait. So, that being said, Erebus, do you want to do the honors of all the shameless plugs that we do?
Apparently, I'm the hype man.
Woo,
Thank you. Yes, so if you want to find more about us, we are over online at apokolipspod.com. You can also find us over on Discord and on YouTube and wherever you download podcasts, which one of those is where you're listening right now. Just gonna say.
Yeah.
Links to all those are over on the website. Please come join us on Discord, talk to us. If there's a character that you want to join us to talk about, hit us up. We're happy to have guests, especially if they're as amazing as Boomy is. So let us know if you have questions for any upcoming characters. About any upcoming characters. We're not interviewing the characters.
Maybe you're not. I could.
that could be a new segment.
Listen, if we can get Brandon Routh on this podcast, I am going to die happy.
We'll talk about that later.
Excellent. Oh, good. Planning.
Yes.
Yeah. So find us there.
All right. Well, thank you for everyone for getting on tonight, and I hope everyone that's listening, y'all really enjoyed it. And we'll see y'all next time on our next Apokolips production.
Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hasta la vista, baby.